Sisters, come close. I want to tell you a story that's not often told, but one that every woman of faith needs to hear. It's about courage. It's about discernment. It's about what happens when a woman dares to say yes to God in the quiet corners of her ordinary life. I am Jael, and this is my story. Let's go back, way back, to the highlands of ancient Canaan, a time when Israel was in chaos. There was no king, no steady leadership, just judges, men and women God appointed to guide his people, who kept drifting from his ways. And every time they did, enemies rose up. One of those enemies was King Jabin of Canaan, and his commander, a ruthless man named Sisera, who led an army with 900 iron chariots, tremendous power in the ancient world. For 20 long years, Israel lived under the weight of oppression, and the people cried out. God heard the cries of his people, and he raised up a woman. Her name was Deborah, a prophetess, a judge, a mighty leader. She sent for Barak, the military general, and gave him clear instructions straight from God. Gather 10,000 men, go to Mount Tabor. God will give Sisera into your hands. Barak said yes, but only if Deborah would go with him. So she did. But she gave him a prophetic warning. The honor won't be yours. Sisera will fall by the hands of a woman. A woman. The battle broke out, and it was fierce. God in his power sent a torrential rainstorm. The river Kishon overflowed. Sisera's mighty chariots, his greatest advantage, became his downfall, stuck in the mud. His army scattered, defeated, and Sisera ran, on foot, alone, humiliated. He ran right into the path of a humble, tent-dwelling woman. Her name was Jael. She wasn't a soldier. She didn't have a sword. She lived in a tent, just a homemaker in a quiet corner of the land. Her husband's clan was neutral, even friendly with King Jabin. But Jael feared God more than she feared kings. And when Sisera came stumbling into her camp, breathless and desperate, she met him with a calm that only comes from God. "Come in, my lord," she said. "Don't be afraid." In ancient culture, the tent of a woman was sacred ground. No man would dare enter unless invited. That tent, her tent, was sacred space. But she welcomed him in. She covered him with a blanket, gave him milk to drink when he would have expected water, made him feel safe. And when he asked her to stand guard at the door, he laid down, exhausted, and drifted into a deep sleep. But sisters, Jael was not asleep. She knew. She discerned that this man was no guest. He was the enemy of God's people. And God had delivered him into her hands. Not Deborah's, not Barak's, hers. So what did she do? She reached for what she had. Not a sword, not a spear, just a hammer and a tent peg. Ordinary tools she used every day to build her home. And with unwavering strength, she drove that peg through Sisera's temple, pinning him to the ground. In one moment, the warlord fell. The battle ended, not on the field, but in the hands of a woman who dared to act. Barak arrived soon after, searching for Sisera. And Jael stepped out of her tent. She didn't boast. She didn't tremble. She simply said, "Come, I'll show you the man you're looking for." And there he was, Sisera, the commander of 900 chariots, slain in the tent of a woman who knew her moment had come. Now hear me, sister. Jael wasn't famous. She wasn't in charge, but she was ready. She recognized her moment. She discerned God's will, and she took action, not with someone else's tools, but with the ones in her own hands. She was courageous when it counted. She was wise in the heat of the moment. She was obedient to God, even when it didn't make logical sense. And isn't that what we're called to do? You may not have a sword, but you have a story. You may not command armies, but you carry influence. You may live in a tent, or a tiny apartment, or a busy household. But when God places a calling in front of you, take action. Don't underestimate what God can do with your everyday faith, because Jael's story reminds us you don't have to be center stage to be part of a divine victory. You just have to say yes. So the next time fear knocks on your door, remember Jael and tell fear you picked the wrong tent. If Jael's story spoke to you today, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment and let me know, what tool has God placed in your hands? Because your tent might just be the battlefield God uses for his next victory. So until next time, stay strong, stay faithful, and stay ready.